What's up, everybody? This is Chris, aka Barnon11970, and thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. And let's get into the Syrian talk. If you notice, this has not become very popular. The average person out there has made it clear that we do not want to have action over in Syria. And a lot of us are starting to notice the hypocrisy of this government, which I've been trying to warn people about for years. The thing that scares me is this. They're saying that the helping of Syria by bombing them, that's how we help people, by bombing them, might not happen because Congress isn't approving it. Even some of the media is talking about not approving it, and the people are definitely not approving it. And if you know anything about how this government has worked and governments throughout history, if they don't get their way, there's always a tragic event that happens that causes the people to change their mind. So I'm not guaranteeing this. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. But if you base it on previous track records, if they don't get their way, if the president and the people who are paying him don't get their way to start this conflict in Syria, then I would safely say that there's going to be some kind of false flag event coming soon, where someone around Syria or some Syrian person or somebody that says they're from Syria ends up causing some kind of catastrophe somewhere that makes people all of a sudden cry out, oh, we need to get them. So obviously I don't know what that is. I'm not guaranteeing that that's the case, but it would not surprise me if they can't get their agenda. They always have the problem, reaction, solution, and it works like a charm, because the average person out there is going to see something on the television, believe that it's 100% true, and then want action. So even if he can't get his way, and obviously people are blaming Obama because, he's the puppet, he's the, punching bag, but he's not in control. It's the people who are paying him that are really in control. He's the punching bag. So everybody has somebody to focus on, while everybody else, like the Federal Reserve, the banks, and the top 1% of the top 1% who really run the world, get to do things behind the scenes unnoticed. So I actually said months ago, I was saying there was going to be some kind of event happening around September 21st, because that's a PowerPoint. Now, I was right about the June 21st, because the day before is when we had that major adjustment of the metals. Now, obviously, because I'm not part of the system, I can't tell you what it is. I don't know. And if I did, I would tell you. But if you see the way things are unfolding, and there's a lot of events happening that are coming soon, it would not surprise me if all of a sudden there is some kind of terrorist problem that has to do with something from Syria or around there that gets us to have to go in. Because if they can't get their way by doing it the way they're doing now, by going through Congress, which Congress has basically said, we don't approve of this, and obviously the people that are in the UN don't approve, because you see even Britain has backed out, it's just not a good time to think that it's just going to be like, well, the president says, oh, well, we tried, it didn't work, so let's just forget about it. It's not going to work that way. Something's going to happen. And unfortunately, people are going to get hurt or even possibly killed that had nothing to do with this. And it all boils down to money. That's basically what it boils down to. Because if our president or anybody in the government was really thinking we're going in to help the Syrian people by bombing them as a way to create peace, well, do you see the problem with that? You can't put out a fire by adding more fire to it and expect the fire to go out. It just doesn't work that way. And over 100,000 Syrian civilians have died over the past few years. We didn't have a problem then. So this whole thing stinks of back in the early 90s with the weapons of mass destruction that weren't there. So unfortunately, people believe what the media tells you. We're still at that point where the majority of people just will believe whatever they're told. So if there's some tragic event that pinpoints something around Syria, it's going to be a shame that the average person who said, oh, we don't want a conflict with Syria, now all of a sudden might be turning around and saying, let's go over there. So, unfortunately, people have to get injured or killed that had nothing to do with this stuff because a bunch of people that are looking to make money off of us have nothing better to do with their free time. So tell me what you think about this. I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it is something we need to be aware of, because if you stay silent, information can't get out there, and information can stop things from happening. Because if you overheard a conversation of two people planning to, rob somebody's house, and you overheard the time they were doing it, the house they were doing it, and you say something, you could prevent it from happening. So that's why we talk about this stuff. So there are people out there that will say things like, oh, well, people have talked about stuff in the past and it didn't happen. Well, what if enough people talked about it that it stopped it from happening? That's why people like myself and others actually try and talk about these things. There is no guarantees, but if you don't speak of it, the message doesn't get out. Because if all of a sudden there is some kind of terrorist coming out of Syria, that would be one hell of a coincidence if all of a sudden it happened at this time to get us to justify why we're there. So just be on the lookout. I don't watch the news anymore. I don't waste my time with a bunch of lies and garbage. I hear stuff. If somebody sends me something on YouTube, I just spend my life now enjoying my life, doing my orgone pyramids, and not wasting my time worrying about fear. So this isn't about fear. This is about pointing out things that have worked in the past. That's how they get people into places like Vietnam. That's how they fooled people with 9/11. That's how they get their agendas. It's by hurting a bunch of innocent people that had nothing to do with it, so some people can make some money. So I'm going to start my day. Thank you for watching, guys. And I don't make my videos as regularly as I used to. I'll try and fix that when I can. But those of you stuck around, I do appreciate it. So leave your comments. Give it a thumbs up if you appreciate it. And have a great day. Peace.